how do you go from knowing what to do to actually doing it? There's a lot of people that know what to do, but they don't do it. Uh, and it's kind of like there's a couple dimensions to this. The first one is like an old story that I learned from a friend of mine, that there are four frogs sitting on a log. Four frogs sitting on a log, and two of them decide to jump in the water. Okay, so two decide to jump in the water. So now my question to you is, how many frogs are left on the log? You had four on the log. Two decide to jump in the water. How many do you have left on the log? So think about it. And if you said two, that's not the correct. The answer is there's still four on the log. Why? Because just because two decided to do it doesn't mean they did it. I'll say it again. Just because two frogs decided to jump in doesn't mean they actually jumped. So knowing something and deciding to actually do it are two different things. But for a lot of people, they confuse the two. Well, I know what to do. Okay, well, if you know how to make money, why are you still broke? I know how to lose weight. Well, I got it. I mean, a lot of people know how to lose weight, but how come you haven't done it? Okay, so how do you go from knowing to actually doing? So some of the things we've been talking about, you have to do with what is it you want to do, and how badly do you want to do it? Let me say this again. What do you want to do, and how badly do you want to do it? I'm going to say knowing how to do it is less important than your ability to take action and make things happen. And again, a lot of the things I've been talking about on some of these other podcasts are all true here as well. And that is, set your goal. Why do you want to do it? Know that resistance is going to show up. What is the resistance? Identify it, tackle it, and look at the resistance to getting things done as a good thing. Say, oh, I wish I had no resistance. I wish it was easy. It's not going to be easy. And if it was easy, there'd be no significance to it. Think about this. Who do you admire most? Do you admire people that are eminently successful? Or do you admire, which I do, but do you also admire maybe a little bit more people that have had adversity in their lives? Maybe their lives have taken a huge dip, but they come back with a vengeance and they become successful in spite of the setback. See, if you're like me, for most of us, we really admire those people that have had difficult times and came roaring back. Why? Because they dealt with the resistance. The resistance showed its ugly face, took them down, and they refused to get beaten, and they came back. So look at from that perspective, we actually admire people more that face resistance. People that don't face resistance, sometimes we say they're lucky, they had a silver spoon in their mouth and all that kind of stuff. So resistance is a good thing. It's a character builder. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, back in the 1960s, when he talked about the project of sending the first man to the moon, said we take on this project not because it's easy, but because it's hard, because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. So as a great leader, what he knew is that the resistance and the adversity and the problems that lie ahead to whatever it is you want to do are good things. It's going to bring out the best in you. It's going to make you the best. We're human beings. We're born on this planet naked, helpless. We wouldn't last 20 or 30 minutes on this planet without support of other people. That's who we are. And so from the very beginning of our lives, we face adversity, we face death, we face non-existence. And so as a human being, part of your job, the bumblebee's job is to go get nectar to make honey, and it cross-pollinates, right? Ours is to solve problems. Do you ever think about this? What do human beings do best? They solve problems. Why? Because we have to stay alive. We have to solve these problems. And because we can't fly, we don't have a thick coat to protect us from the weather. We have to feed ourselves, all these kind of things. We have to take care of our young, our families. So we face resistance all the time. And we have to solve problems all the time. If Dr. Buckminster Fuller said, if the bumblebee has a purpose in life, which is to basically cross-pollinate, but they don't know that. They think that as long as they go out and get the honey, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? Because they cross-pollinate it automatically. What about human beings? What are we supposed to do? So here's my theory. My theory is the thing that we hate the most is what we're the best at. I'll say it again. The thing we hate the most is what we're the best at. We hate dealing with problems, but that's what we're good at. Right? We hate dealing with problems. That's why we're good at it, because we receive the problem, we receive the challenge, and we're trying to do everything in our power to fix it, get away from it, find a way to solve it. And that's why our standard of living has gone up and up and up and up and up and up over all these years, because we continue to solve these difficult problems that we put ourselves in. So why am I saying all this? I'm going to say that it built inside of you is the ability to obviously be a very great person. That's a given. But more specifically, what's built inside of you is this ability to overcome adversity, to go from thinking about it, like I know this, to actually doing it. The gap in between can be difficult, and it's a war between your ears. It has to do with what I've talked about before is discipline and mentorship and planning and teams and support. Lots of different ways to get this done. But I'm going to give you one more discipline, how to go from knowing to doing. And that is the moment you sit down and your brain goes, I really need to do this, or I need to get started on this. Don't think about it. Play a game with yourself. The minute the thought comes up, jump to action. I'll give you an example. I was at the gym the other day. I'm going to be going here in a few minutes again when I'm done with this podcast. So I go to the gym and I'm between sets. I do push-ups, and then I do some crunches, and I do pull-ups, and I do some aerobic stuff. And it's exhausting, and I do several sets. So I get done. I get done with the crunches, and I'm sweating and I'm really tired, and I know I need to go to do push-ups next. Now I can sit there if I don't have Mac Newton or if I don't have a coach. I can just sit there and wait out and chill a little bit, relax. Or the minute my brain goes, Blair, you're procrastinating, boom, jump on it right then and there, even though it's uncomfortable, even though I don't want to do it. And when that resistance comes up, take immediate action, even if it's a little bit of action right then and there on what it is, you're procrastinating, okay? So procrastination and deadlines and and all these things that we're talking, going from knowing to doing, they're all around the same topic. It's a decision. It's a decision that you make in your mind that I'm not going to be lazy anymore. I don't want to be broke anymore. Unfortunately, for some people, they have to get to the rock bottom of their lives or in their experiences in their business till they finally make a decision to do something that they should have done 10 months ago or 10 years ago, okay? So don't be that kind of a person. If there's one discipline, you want to go from knowing to doing, the minute you know that you need to do something and you're not doing it, override whatever's going on in your mind and stand up, take immediate action, and start working on it. Two things will happen. First of all, you're going to build a great habit, and that is that you're going to not procrastinate and you're going to take immediate action. But the second thing is you're going to get stronger. You're going to get stronger. Think about it. I'm sitting there doing crunches. I could sit there and wait another 5 minutes before I start doing push-ups. But if I'm going to get on it right now. If I cut the time down from 5-minute rest in between sets to 20 seconds or 15 seconds, is my body going to get stronger? Absolutely. Am I going to feel better about myself? Absolutely. Is it going to be a little bit more painful? Absolutely. But overall, think about that. By taking the immediate action, all these positive things happen. Only one negative thing happens: pain. That's the only thing. But everything else is positive. Think about that. So again, people are afraid of the pain. People are afraid of the disappointment, afraid of all those things. But I'm just going to say, if you want to go from knowing to doing, take immediate action the first time your little voice starts to procrastinate it for whatever reason. Just just jump on it. Okay. Just jump on it. Last thing, maybe not the last thing as I'm thinking about this, but if you want to go from knowing to doing, stop saying you know. Stop saying I already know that. I already know this. As a teacher, leader, facilitator for many, many years, one of the most upsetting and discouraging things I face as a teacher is when I'm conducting a class or I'm coaching somebody and they go, yeah, I already know that. And I think to myself, really? How do I know you know that? Well, I already know that. I already learned that it's this. I go, yeah, it's pretty good. But if you already know it, how come you haven't done anything about it? Well, I got this going on, and my mother-in-law, and my kids, and all that stuff. Again, I go back to code of honor. Make sure, if you want to go from knowing to doing, in your personal code of honor, your rules for yourself, have a rule that says that you never learn less, that you always are that you got to take immediate action, or action always beats inaction, whatever that is. And most of all, to eliminate blame, excuse making, justification, and take responsibility. You are where you are because you decided that's where you are. Okay. And you say, well, you don't understand my circumstances. I understand. I've worked with hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people. You are where you are because you've allowed yourself to be that, good, bad, or otherwise. Okay. Yeah. Some situations may take more strength, more resiliency to get past them. You want to go from knowing to doing. Also so eliminate blame, justification. Put that in your code. No more blaming. No more. Even if you have an excuse, don't use it. The minute you hear yourself saying it, zip it, okay, and take action. The other thing is, for all these things, whether you're trying to keep deadlines, whether you're trying to become a doing person, a couple more things, and that's this: surround yourself with people that do things. Don't surround yourself with lazy people. Don't surround yourself with other people. You just gonna sit and play video games all day and watch movies on your phone. Don't hang around with people like that. If you want to break that habit, get rid of those. Move those people a little bit out of your circle. Hang around with people that get things done. They're active. They're doing things like that. It'll wear off on you very, very quickly. Okay, so hang around the right kind of people. And I'm going to say this is, as a human being, you're meant to do things. Without going into a lot of detail, if you think about people that retire, think about people that they've been working, doing things their whole life, and they retire. What happens to their health? Well, if they don't take on a meaningful project, their health gets poor. Their emotions become erratic. And life expectancy actually shortens. A person that is not doing something, is not mission driven, that doesn't have things going on, their body decays and deteriorates, much like a tree falling in the forest. The wood decays. So the universe, the world, has an interesting way of keeping itself clean. If you're not taking action, if you're not doing things, your life expectancy is going to be less, and the quality of that life is going to be less. You may not die, but your dreams die. Your aspirations die. All the hope and dreams that you had for yourself as a kid and growing up, they begin to fade into the sunset, and you begin to give up on yourself. Do. Learn how. Learn to know. But knowing means nothing. Knowledge is nothing unless it's applied. Okay, so apply it immediately. The first time that little voice goes, I'm not so sure, just take action right then and there. Even if it's not successful action, just take action on it right then and there, and you begin to build the habit of overriding that resistance. At that point, resistance becomes your friend. When resistance comes up, you go, okay, there it is. We're all ready to go. A great world-class athlete, quarterback in American football, Peyton Manning, he says, nervousness is not a bad thing. Nervousness and a little bit of fear, Michael Jordan said the same thing, not a bad thing, because it means you're about to do something important. You're about to do something significant, okay? So when the resistance comes up, which is kind of the common theme in these podcasts I've been doing here, understand it's your friend. It doesn't seem like your friend, it seems like your enemy, but that resistance is what's going to make you better. It's there for you to take it on. You came into this life to take on challenges and to solve problems. And the minute you decide to create a big task for yourself, there it is. And you go, thank you, I'm glad you're here. And boom, now you know where you need to go. Just overcome the resistance first. Don't even worry about the goal. Overcome the resistance first, and you'll start building a habit as a person that's on time, gets what they want, hangs around with the right people, somebody that's dependable. And at the end of the day, you're going to learn to trust yourself. Trust yourself. And the last thing I'll say is just remember, if you worked with me before, you know that your results can never be greater than your self-concept of how you see yourself. If you see yourself as a trustworthy person, overcomes resistance, and does those things, obviously your results are going to be better because you feel better about yourself. If you feel like nobody will read my book, nobody's going to listen to me anyway, I don't like doing it, then then your results are going to reflect that too. Even if it's something you don't necessarily want to do, but you know you have to do it, do it. Doesn't last forever, but it builds a habit. Action always beats inaction. Okay? So go out there and make some things happen. Be awesome.